Okay.
Welcome, everyone, to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night Creator Convo. I'm Noelle Marshall, and I'm here with my beloved.
Hi, everyone. This is Bob Warner. We are so delighted to have Sarah with us this evening. Mark, thank you for bringing her into the presence of the Co-Creators Convergence community. I'm looking forward to this. And thank you, Sarah, for jumping in for this slot that we had even earlier than we thought. It's going to be a wonderful evening. Welcome, everyone, in Timeless Time to our burning circle of co-creation. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, and welcome Mark Shryock back again, bringing his good friend, Sarah Shook. And we're going to learn about the road to New Earth and waves of ascension. So we just ask those of you that are in the Zoom room itself, just stay muted, and we will open it up at the end for Q&A, because I know there's going to be a lot of downloads here this evening. And those of you who are on Facebook, if you put any questions, comments, in the comments, Bob will bring those over into the Zoom room so you are able to participate. So before we begin, I want to tell you a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence and the guests we have coming up. So please stand by. So that is a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence. And we've been doing this for about 10 years. And we have a lot of wonderful talks archived on our website, co-creatorsconvergence.com. So to start us off tonight, I want to introduce Mark Shryock. And Mark, in late 1986, his Kundalini completely rose to his higher chakras. After that, he could see auras and people's past lives in their energy veil in their faces, in every moment had a mystical intuitive experiences and began to channel. This was at first rather disturbing. In 1987, he looked out the window and followed a ray of light in the sky to where 100 people had been guided to come together to anchor the harmonic convergence on August 16 and 17. He was trained at this time to prepare for what is occurring now. The preparation consisted of multi-streams of light and experiences that led him through codependency treatment and then to work in the same treatment center, to ecology work, art, writing, working as a professor in Asia for a decade. He has an MA in Humanities in Cosmology, Ecology, and Consciousness, and was a PhD fellow at Pondicherry University in India. He is an honorary professor at the School of Ancient Wisdom in India and have an honorary doctorate in divinity. And you can find out more about Mark. He's an author, artist, so many gifts. And you can find out more about him at his website, markashryock.com. So welcome, Mark, and welcome. It's great to have you back.
Well, thank you. Good to be back.
And I'm so grateful that you brought somebody who said, I know exactly who I want to invite to be on a Co-Creators Convergence call. So without any further ado, I'm going to disappear here. I'm going to be here to serve throughout. And I just remind people, if you have questions or comments, put them in the chat and we'll open it up at the end, because I just think it's going to be a fascinating evening. And those of you who are on Facebook, put yours in the chat and Bob will bring them over. So thank you everyone for coming. I'll see you in a bit.
Well, I want to be really brief because I don't want to rob us even of a minute of what Sarah has to offer. I haven't known Sarah that long. I've been following her on YouTube for some time. What struck me right off with Sarah that I thought was so profound is her willingness to be vulnerable and to share from the heart. There's a lot of people doing light work out there, but you know, 5D is all about, you know, the divine feminine. And when someone can truly open up their heart and be vulnerable and not be afraid to do that, they're capable of channeling incredible energy to shift consciousness. And Sarah has that. She did a reading for me and my daughter, or my daughter and I. My daughter is capable of seeing whoever's channeling, and so she was seeing who Sarah was channeling, so we know she's the real deal. And but the insights she gave us were just quite profound, and I think so much of what she does that any talk I give, I bring her up and let people I'm working with know that she is available. I think her gift is extraordinary in that Sarah's capable of going to your guides and looking at your timeline and helping guide you to your highest timeline. And to me, that's really profound. And the way that she does it is really down to earth and very kind and very loving way. Sarah before was a comedian, and I don't know if that's where her heart comes from. I assume it has part to do with that. But she's a very gifted, intuitive, and channel. And I've met so many people that does this work, and to be honest, I'm more taken by her than probably anyone I have met anywhere in the world that is presently doing this work, and that's saying about as much as I can say. And so with that, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. And thank you for being here. Excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, thank you so much. What kind, extraordinary words. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me here. So I wanted to sit with my guides before tonight and ask, you know, I just want to be a vessel for this to bring through what needs to come through. And I can already feel like the energy building. They wanted us to start with a meditation, just a short thing. I want to bring us into the heart center. This is so key. This is the energy that we're stepping into right now, that we're learning to operate from. For so long, we've operated from, you know, logic and the brain and, you know, these systems in the world. And we're learning to come into our authenticity and live in that space and to listen to our hearts more. So as before we step into all of this energy and information tonight, and, you know, I think whatever the guides are wanting to bring through, I'd like us all to kind of center and connect through our hearts. Okay. So if you are able to, I'm just going to have us close our eyes. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths here. And as we breathe in, I want you to focus pulling that breath into the heart space. And we're going to hold it at the top. And then we'll release it out. So just settling into whatever you're sitting on. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in through the nose and pull that breath into the heart space. Again, holding at the top. When you're ready, just exhaling it out. Just feeling that ease center in your body. We're going to take a second deep breath in, just pulling that breath into the energy center of the heart and activating it. Just letting that breath build there in the chest. And releasing out. And on this third breath, I want you to imagine really pulling in that love into your heart space, letting your body fill with that support of the breath. So let's do this third breath in. Holding at the top. And just releasing it out, feeling that ease in your body. As we continue to breathe here, I want you to bring your attention to this heart space, your heart chakra. Just imagining that green glowing light of the heart chakra growing bigger and bigger as you breathe in. As you bring your attention to that heart space, I want you to think of something or someone that you love. Something or someone that you are incredibly grateful for. It could be an animal, it could be a mug that you drink your coffee out of, something that brings you that joy and that gratitude, and just pulling that energy into your heart space. Just continuing to allow that energy to grow as you fill yourself with this gratitude and this love. Thinking about the joy that it brings to your life. We're going to take in one more deep breath here, pulling that energy into our heart space. Holding at the top. And on the exhale, I want you to imagine pushing that love and that gratitude out into everyone on this call, into the energy around you. Just feeling yourself being surrounded with this love and this gratitude. Just thinking again about how this makes you feel. That you can be so loved that you're able to welcome this thing or this person or this circumstance into your life. Came in because of who you are and what you have to offer. Because your energy is beautiful and it attracted this. And now, as you sit in this heart space, I want your heart to tell or show you something about who you are, who you're here to be, and what you're here to offer. This could be an image, a word, or a sentence, a feeling. Just breathing into your heart and letting it show you what you are capable of when you are in this space of love. We're going to take in one more deep breath here into our chest. Holding at the top. And as we exhale out, I want you to imagine that energy just swirling around you, giving you a great big hug, giving yourself that love, feeling that depth of who you are. When you're ready, we're going to come back and see what wants to come through. Hey, I'm catching my feels. So I wanted to start with that today, so we're all connected in this space. We're here right now, and I'm sure everyone on this call would consider themselves part of this ascension process to New Earth. You may consider yourself a light worker. And we are here because we are stepping into that energy, and this is what we're beginning to operate from. The heart space is New Earth. It is 5D. That's our new operating system. So what's been happening over the past several years, especially since 2020, is we have been almost ripping this old operating system out of our bodies. The system that's been telling us, you know, we have to go along with what everybody else says. We have to fall in line. We, you know, can't ruffle feathers, whatever it may be, you know, you grow up, you get married, you go to college, you have kids, you buy a house, and then you retire, and that's it. Like, whatever this, you know, not that that's wrong, but it's like this system of like, you can't step outside of anything. We've been put in a box. And now we're stepping into this place of authenticity, of we're honoring who we are and our heart first and foremost. And that opens up this whole new space for all of us to step into and create a new consciousness on the planet. So a couple of weeks ago, my guides came through and said that we have reached this new earth energy. We're in it right now. Now, it may seem like, well, that doesn't feel right to me. I still feel crazy. It feels intense. I'm wobbling back and forth like crazy. And that's okay. It's on purpose. When something is new, it's like when you move into a new home, you still have to, you know, maybe paint or put you know, decorations up. You have to get the furniture. So we're in that right now, where it's like we're setting ourselves up in this energy. We're getting used to like the town that we moved to. It's that sort of thing. So all of these solar flares, all of this energy that's hitting with the Schumann resonance, it's helping us acclimate. And what that means is it's helping us get used to operating from this heart space, following it. It's not going to make sense. It's going to tell us, you know, if we want to get a new job, it's going to say, why don't you go get a coffee at this cafe? And it's like, well, what does that mean? It's like, I want a job, not a coffee. And it's like, well, when you go to that cafe, there might be a flyer for a job that you're looking for. And it's just like, it's going to take us in these probably seemingly strange directions, but that's how it's working now, through our intuition, through following, oh, this seems exciting to me, or this seems heartwarming. And when we do that, then we're starting to build something that is exciting, that is heartwarming, and that is expansive. So in this energy, we're just, it may feel like we're flip-flopping between like bliss and coherence. And then the next day we're like irritated with everybody, or we don't understand why things aren't moving forward. Or like a lot's on our plate, whatever it may be. It's all right. We're still ripping that system out a little bit. But it feels like, and what I've been told is this is going to keep happening through the end of July. I'm going to come back to July in a minute here, but we're learning to permanently step into this heart space and operate from that. We have been operating from this other space for so long, so it's going to have an acclimation period, and that's what we're in the thick of right now. Okay, so I want to backtrack just a bit, and I want to talk about the waves. So a lot of you may have heard about Dolores Cannon and how she mentions there are waves of volunteers that will come to the earth to help. So this is a different type of waves. There are waves of people that will enter into the new earth, which again is energetic. It's consciousness first before anything. Then it becomes physical. Excuse me. Okay, so there are 6 waves of people that will go to the new Earth. I'm told that the first and the second wave are already there. They're already in it. Right now, we are in the midst of the third and the fourth wave traveling to this consciousness to be more in that consciousness than we would in the 3rd D consciousness. So the waves kind of work together. The first wave may have helped awaken and helped the second wave acclimate. So they kind of go together. They showed me that the first wave went, and then as the second wave arrived, I believe this happened last June, so almost a year ago. And when that happened, you feel like a significant shift when that consciousness raises and no one's connected, and not as many people are connected in this lower consciousness. People recognize that. We feel it, but we kind of don't know what happens. So with that, last June, I think there were also some pretty significant flares at that time as well. But they told me June 6th, June 7th of 2023, I feel like a lot of these fourth wavers awakened. They opened up. They started shifting into this consciousness. Now, a lot of us who are on the call, I'm assuming probably most people are 3rd wave. I've been told I'm a 3rd wave. Maybe Mark would agree with this. I believe he's a 3rd wave. It's not about when you've awakened. It's not about when you were born or anything like that. It's just about when your soul has agreed to go here and how it's agreed to serve and pull people to New Earth. So the 3rd and the 4th wave are working together, and I've actually been told that the 3rd waves have the biggest job. We are a bridge for this collective that is going to New Earth. So we've kind of agreed to like stay behind a little bit, and we've agreed to stay in this more intense energy so that we can help like pull these 4th wavers across the bridge. It's like we're helping them to, they may have awakened pretty rapidly, and it's almost like whatever we're doing, whatever our energy is doing too, it's helping them to feel not so crazy. Like, okay, yes, I can step into this awakening, and I know there's people who are here to help me. So maybe if you're like a healer or something like that, you may have people come to you who are like, I think I'm going through an awakening, or this is happening, I don't know. And they're just seeking that understanding of what's going on with them. So I'm told that we're here to help those 4th wave people really. It's like, come on, you don't have to understand it. Like, let's just pull you to the other side. But also the 3rd wave people are going to work with other 3rd wave people. We all are kind of finding each other, helping each other feel safe, helping each other work through this process and get to the other side. So right now, I think the 3rd wave has reached this new Earth consciousness. And we're still kind of pulling like the 4th wave. We're waiting for them to really arrive and start acclimating as well. And I think they're going to start doing that after July. I think that acclimation period will happen for them in about like August, September, October. So I want to see if I was going to go into something and I'm like kind of getting the nudge to talk about this a little bit more. All right, so I want to talk about July really quick. It feels like right now we're really being pushed. It feels intense. A lot of us might feel like, I just need a break. I can't keep going. And with that, I want to say, keep going. It's like, oh my gosh, when is this just gonna like end? I promise you, it is coming. We are gonna feel that sense of relief. I mean, whatever you're working on, I think a lot of us are like, you know, whether it's like, I got to get a business going, I need to move, I need to like figure out some type of school for my kid. I need to like, whatever it may be, it could be a whole bunch of things at once. It's like, I think the break is coming in at the end of July. Pieces are going to start coming in. And the biggest note I've gotten from my guides and for other people in readings is keep pressing forward and keep acting as if this is happening. So if you're like planning a move, start packing your house up, start getting rid of things that don't fit anymore. If you're looking for, a new type of career. It's like, start getting in alignment with what that is. Journal about what you want it to look like. Get in tune with your heart of like what it is that you offer. Start getting in that energy, because this is the thing, the step that's going to lift you into that new space, into this new earth a little more permanently. And I feel like once the end of July kind of happens, it might lag into August a little bit. It's like this shift happens. Then for these third waivers, it's like August and September and a little of October, but mostly August and September, we're settling in. We're like, okay, this is what's happening. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Maybe I'm making my move. Maybe I'm starting the new job. Maybe this new friend group has come in and I'm getting used to them. And it's like, okay, we're really kind of rapidly putting all of this together. And then in October, it feels like, okay, it's like the eye of the storm. We are sitting in it. We're just integrating. I'm here. I'm doing. Maybe I don't quite know yet where this is going or I'm going, but it's like we might feel as though, but something else is about to hit. November is the month. And I don't mean this in like a scary sort of way, but this is when I'm being told that the fifth wave starts to awaken. Now, I want to say this. If you think about your spiritual awakening and what it took to wake you up, for me, it was like a toxic boss and health issues, pretty intense stuff. For other people, maybe it was just a realization. I don't know. But if you think about all the stuff that you went through to help get you to where you're at, now I just want to put this in perspective, and I'm not putting any beliefs on anybody, but if you think about what happened in 2020 and 2021, what the whole world experienced, those people still trusted and stayed in that. So what has to happen now to wake them up? So I know in the US, there is something coming in November. I do feel that it has a big part to play in it. This is not anything to be afraid of. The big thing that my guides have told me is that right now we're building our reserves. And by that, we are acclimating to this energy. We are stepping into our roles and our soul missions and what we are here to do and how we are here to serve. And then it's like we're starting to build that out even more so it can be a physical place. So then as these fifth waivers wake up, which I've also been told is the largest group of people, it feels it's going to be pretty intense and chaotic for them. But we're protected in this energy that we have built and acclimated and stepped into. Okay, I'm just collecting, making sure that's everything in that part. I feel like there's something else there. They just want to, my guides just want to reassure you that this isn't a scary thing. We signed up for this, and we know how to handle this type of energy. We've already been through it for ourselves. So when the collective starts to wake up, and they may have a lot of anger and resentment at the powers that be, at each other, at certain relationships, it's like we know what that's like. And we know how to protect ourselves from it. We know how to stand in the midst of chaos and say, it's okay, I can let it be there. I am still safe. And that's what this time is for. It's preparing us for that. So I know we tuned in with the heart space, and the heart is really important. It's a huge part of this. But there is another portion of the heart besides letting it be our guide. The heart isn't just this love, compassionate space. It is that space for us. We have to start it here with us. So when this fifth wave awakens, they may start coming to people like us, like these third and fourth waivers, saying, I feel insane. What is happening with me? Fix it. They may want what you have. They may be like throwing their stuff onto you, whatever it may be. And we're going to say, no, figure it out. You can't come to me and expect me to fix your desperation for you. And I know we all have probably been in that stage ourselves. I certainly have. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't know what's happening with me. This is so intense. All this stuff is coming up. I just want someone to take it away from me. And it is actually love, and it is actually heart-centered for us to say to these people, You have to get to the space where you are willing to learn how to fix it yourself. I cannot do it for you. And they're not going to like that. They're not going to want to hear that, but it's okay. That is love. That is heart-centered. The heart has boundaries. The heart is firm. If you think about a woman who is in her power, in her heart, she does not let people mess with her. She doesn't let people take advantage of her. She follows her intuition, even when it's something that is difficult or challenging to do. So that is a space that we also have to be aware of and that we have to step into. Okay. So this shift is energetic or conscious first. We're learning to let people have their reality, to let people be in the space that they're in. We are learning acceptance, that our differences make up the whole. We're learning all sorts of things about how to be in acceptance of what is happening and of ourselves. When we step into this consciousness, into this heart space, and we're in that energy, that has to happen first. And then we're operating from that space so that whatever we create or whatever we build is then infused with that energy. So that's why it has to happen consciously and energetically first. I know a lot of people ask, well, is the new earth a physical place or is it energetic? I don't understand. So just to answer that question again, it is energetic first. Just like when you manifest, if you think about it first, oh, I have this idea, I have this thought, then I have the idea of the action that I need to take. And then you may create something and then it becomes physical. It's the same thing with this. And as more people arrive in this consciousness, it's like then the energy starts to separate out more and more. It becomes more palpable. So if you're around people who you maybe used to be friends with, or even family members who aren't on this path, you might have a shorter fuse with them. You might have a harder time being around them for a longer period of time. And that's actually a great sign. It means that you are in this like separating energy, and they may come along, they might be in the fifth wave and they're about to go through their process. But it's just showing that you're in this higher energy. So it's harder to be in that lower energy. So congratulations, you've been doing your work. So right now we're setting up for the physical to happen, and whatever that might be for you, whether you're writing a book, you're starting a community, a business, you're creating new systems for people, or materials, you're doing events, whatever it may be, you are acclimating to this energy so then you can create it in the physical. So there's this other part. When the fifth wave starts to awaken, and I feel as though there's going to be quite a bit of disclosure happening about what's been going on behind the scenes with the powers that be. Again, I think I'm always afraid to say the proper words because on YouTube, I'm like, I don't want to get flagged, but we're on, I know you're putting it on YouTube, so I'm watching my words. But so this thing that's happening in the US in the beginning of November, I feel like it's like a jumping off point where I won't go into all the details that my guides gave about it because I know things can shift and change, but it feels like it's a bit of a shock and a bit of a revealing of like, oh, this has been set up or fake or whatever it may be. And I think people may go bonkers about it. There's other stuff, but this is the start of the crumbling of these systems, whether it's the monetary system, the systems of authority, education, entertainment. All these systems are starting to kind of be exposed more and more, and they're starting to crumble. They're also crumbling not just from exposure or disclosure of like what's actually happening, but by people waking up and leaving these systems and building the new ones. And the biggest portion of this for the crumbling of them is the consumer. The consumer is starting to wake up as well. And they're going to say, wait a minute, this doesn't like jive with me anymore. There's something off about this. But these people over here, these third wavers and fourth wavers who have awakened and stepped into this new consciousness, they're building something. Wait, I saw a video on YouTube from this co-creators convergence place. What is this? You know, there's something here. I need to go find out about that. And they're going to want to consume more of this high vibe content, stuff, systems, whatever. That's what they're going to want to step into because their soul is now searching for it. So ultimately, it feels like the consumer is the thing that's going to bring down these systems, and they're going to kind of demand it. So when they come, again, we'll have our boundaries, but also we can offer only what we can offer until they're kind of in the place where they're able to really receive it. Okay. Shaking makeup and a verb, just checking my notes. So this is a process too with these fifth waivers that they're going to be going through for the next several years. It's not like it's just 2025 where this is all happening. Maybe for some of them it only takes a year, but I do feel like it's over the next 5-6 years. So there is a sixth wave too, and this feels like a much smaller group, but it's just much denser for them. I think they're still going to give in a little bit to, you know, what maybe these darker powers are saying. And that's okay. That's just their journey. It doesn't make anyone better or wrong or anything like that. That's just what they have chosen. And they're still learning, they're still growing, but these fifth waivers will help pull them out of wherever they're at. So it's kind of like being a leader doesn't mean you're better. It just means you go first. And that's it. And I want to talk about this for a minute too. I think there is some like, how do I say it? I don't know if there's like stigma or something around the term light worker. I wouldn't say it's like this term that I love using because I do feel like it's like the term psychic where it just has some stereotypical stuff to it. But I do think it's a term that people recognize. And I do feel like it does serve this really great purpose where it helps you identify more of who you are and why you are here. It helps you realize like, oh, my soul did come here for a mission, and it gives you permission to step into it. So the light workers are leaders. They are receiving information. That's what light is. It's information. It's higher conscious information. And they're here to acclimate to it. And we're here to integrate it into our bodies so that we can then share that with other people when they are ready. You know, if you wanted to learn math, you aren't going to go learn math from somebody who owns a bakery. You're going to learn math from someone who is a mathematician. Just like as a medium, I'm not going to go learn mediumship from somebody who teaches Reiki. I'm going to learn mediumship from somebody who teaches mediumship. And it's the same thing as a light worker. You are learning consciousness, and you learn that from mentors. You learn it from working with guides, from people who already know the consciousness that you're trying to learn. So that's really just our role. It doesn't make anyone unequal. It's just we're going into it first so that we can help the other people grow into theirs. And they might even surpass us in consciousness, who knows, or learn different things that we'll then be learning from them. So we're just consciousness teachers. We're getting, did someone put that in the chat, a PhD in consciousness, so that we can then give that to other people. So that's, yes, part of our role and choosing, and part of our soul mission as a collective of these workers with light. We're working with the light, which is information. So I want to talk a little bit about being a light worker, and before we come in, and how that shows up for us, or how we kind of plan this journey for ourselves. So I was shown that in the in-between, if any of you have done past life regression or anything, life between lives, before we enter into this life, there's something called the Light Workers Council. So this is a council of beings that work with the light workers in the in-between and help with the planning stage. And it's a whole bunch of them, a whole bunch of these guides. They're higher dimensional. And when we're in the in-between, our soul, you know, like Dolores Cannon says, we volunteer to do this. So when you volunteer, you then meet with this council. you'll meet with a guide or multiple guides from this council, and they'll kind of just have a discussion with you like, okay, what has your soul learned in past lives? What do you love to do? What's your soul attracted to? Things like that. So I'm just going to use an example. Let's say your soul's like, I love fashion, actually. I love creating beautiful clothing that's bright and like brings people's energy to the forefront and just brings joy to people through like sewing and creating and drawing fashion and putting that out there. So then the guides are like, oh, okay, great. So as a light worker, then we're going to put you in the fashion industry. So then you incarnate and you're in the fashion industry and you start to learn different methods for that. Then at some point you have an awakening, and it's like, all of a sudden your passion for fashion is like taking a little bit of the back burner, and you're stepping into this spiritual part of yourself. And maybe you learn that you are an intuitive, and you're starting to receive all this information. You do readings for people. And then all of a sudden, at some point, you may feel this fashion part of you wanting to come back in. And it's like, well, how do these two go together? And then it's like, there's this third part of you that wants to create something that brings both of them together. And this is really the light workers type of mission. It's like, it may feel as though we've lived multiple lives in this one lifetime. Because I think we don't have time now to have those lifetimes separately. We need to do it all in one. But also it's on purpose, because we're now learning an industry or a system. Then we pull ourselves out of it into this awakening, into the spiritual side. And now that's like the 5D part of it. And we're smacking the two together, pulling the good from the system that we were in. And that's how we create the new one. So that might sound a little crazy, but maybe not. So that's kind of how it works. And I want to go back to the in-between, the life between lives. So you meet with these guides, and the example again is like, okay, you love fashion. We're going to put you in the fashion industry. So after you meet with those guides in the in-between, then you kind of go to like this holding space where you're preparing to go to this big event with the council and meet your soul mission class. And as you're in this holding space, another guide may come in and hand you this packet. And in this packet is your assignment. So if you are what I just described, this assignment will have a few pages in it, and it's going to have like terms in it. So let's say you open it up, and the first page, your first assignment is going to be designer. And it says, as a designer, you're going to design clothes and fashion. You'll be in the fashion industry, and you might own a boutique. Okay, then the next page might say intuitive. Then you're going to be an intuitive. You're going to start offering sessions. You're going to do this, this, and this. You're going to help guide people and give them clarity on their life. Then you may turn the page, and there's another assignment or a role that you are taking on. And that might say business owner. But that business owner is, I'm owning like a new innovative type of business where I teach people fashion, and I create my own fashion and have a store. But in those clothes, I'm like putting energy and work into them. I'm putting like words or mantras on the clothes that I intuitively channel, so that when people wear them, they're taking in that energy, and like they're getting downloads and upgrades and frequencies and all kinds of stuff. So it's like, that's how it will come together. So after you receive that packet with your assignments and the explanation of it, then we go to this place where we meet our soul mission class. And in this class, you will probably recognize people. Like in my class, there were two people that, one that I knew personally, that's a friend of mine, and one that's someone that I know of. And these people will probably all be around, I want to say, similar ages, not necessarily. The two people that I've seen were all born in the same year. This class will be kind of like a category. So let's say if you're a fashion designer, your category might be something like, it could be fashion, like that industry. For me, mine was actually entertainment, so the entertainment industry. But it's a sector of it. So what are you doing with that industry? It's like putting you in a system or an industry that you're going to help shift. So this class that you're with, you will enter into like this preliminary stage where you're getting briefed about like who you are, why you're in this class. And then you head to this huge stage. For a lot of people, this looks like a baseball stadium or like a music festival at the main stage there. And there will be some beings from the Lightworkers Council there leading it. And you're going to be in your big class and they're going to brief you about why you're in this class. And then you break out into these like smaller groups. And in these smaller groups, this is your soul mission group. These are the people that you're going to come find, that you're going to build things with, that you're here to like initiate an energy onto the planet. So if you're in fashion, it's like, okay, in my group, there might be, 6 other people. So there might be someone who's really good at marketing and they're also like a channeler. And their marketing is channeled and they know how to reach people in a certain way because it's coming through in higher dimensional information. Then there might be someone else who's an accountant and they're going to help you with the business. And maybe they're also an energy worker. So like they know how to attract this good energy with money and sort of things like that. So it's like piecing together so that you have all the parts to create what you need to create in your soul mission group. So it's really fascinating. I have this as a meditation or regression on my website if you're interested in doing it. But it really can inform you about what you're here to do, what you're here to build, give you the details of it, and kind of reassure you about your mission and what that looks like. So I think it's also just reassuring to know, like, we did plan this. There is a guide here for what we're stepping into, and it's no mistake. But at the end of this council, this event that you go to, you all enter up onto this stage as your soul mission group. You claim what you're going to Earth to create and build and shift. And then what you do is you take the energy of it and you place it in your heart. And when I've guided people through this, I've seen it happen every single time that you place it in your heart. So just going back to what we did in the beginning, everything, the answers to everything that you need to do and how we need to move forward is in your heart. Right now, our soul missions are coming online so incredibly much. Like it is the biggest thing right now. If you don't feel like you're in your soul mission, it's time to start asking about it. And this isn't necessarily like we're all here to create, like huge things. We're here to be something. What is it that you're here to do and be? Some of us, our soul mission is just to like, clear trauma or help people with a relationship. It's just to be an energy of love and to give that out in whatever aspect we can. Some of our soul mission groups might just be one other person, and that's okay. It's whatever it is for you. So that answer is in your heart. Can we tune in with that and let that be our guide forward? Breathing into that space and just letting it speak to us, however it wants to. And we could do that through journaling and automatic writing. We can do that through meditation. We can just talk and ask it to be kind of revealed or shown to us throughout the day. But the best way to do it is what feels most passionate for you in this moment. Can you follow that and let that lead you to the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing? The thing that gives you so much excitement that you're like, man, it would just bring so much joy to be able to offer or do this. That is the step. And then you follow the next thing. So you go as far as you can with it. So right now with our soul missions too, we're like basically setting the blueprint of what we're going to be doing. That's what's happening for these next several months. I feel like through the end of September, kind of October. And then we hit the ground running with making it more physical, with building it out, becoming who we feel ourselves to becoming. And that is the most important thing, because when these other waves awaken, they need to have somewhere to go. So it's all happening in divine timing. And it might feel like we're being a little rushed right now, that there's this push behind us. It's okay. You're completely safe. But I also want to say, don't give up now. Please keep going. You're so needed, whatever it may be. Even if it's just, I feel like I just need to talk to people about what's making me happy. Do it. It's so needed. It's going to develop into what's next for you. This is what my guides call our reserves, that when we're stepping into who we are, everything will be provided for us. There is this essence of support that is coming in such a grand way. We're learning that, you know, if you think about money in the US, it's green, and so is our heart chakra. So how do we attract that to us? By being ourselves. If you think about a relationship, you know, someone who falls in love with you, they fall in love with you being confident, you being comfortable in who you are, being vulnerable and sharing that part of yourself. That's what people fall in love with. That's what makes them want to be around you. And it's the same thing with money. It wants to be around somebody who is honoring who they are and feeling comfortable and confident in it. And when you do that, and when you keep following that and trust it, it's going to show up. We're going to be provided for. And it may show up in ways where it's like, wow, I need to find a place to live. And maybe someone just is like, oh, I have a cottage in the back of my house. I'd love to just rent it to someone because I want the company. Actually, I'll give it to you for free. So it's like, maybe money isn't even part of it, but what we need, the abundance and our being provided for is going to show up. So our reserves, again, are also in our heart, and following that soul mission is going to serve us so big time. My guides love to talk about soul mission and help people dive into that and understand what that is. I feel like that's part of my soul mission. A big part right now is to help other people step into their soul mission. That's what I've been told, and to help pull people to this other side of consciousness so that when they have this understanding about themselves, it feels solid and they have something to stand on. And I love doing it. So I hope this was helpful. The last thing that I really want to mention is um, we have so much support in the extraterrestrial realm. There's just like, if you just knew how much was there, if you could like see the skies and how much is hovering around us right now. We're definitely, I wonder if some of you have had these experiences being worked on in our sleep to help open pathways. I've had many instances where I have been lucid and kind of woken up in the midst of it. I've seen like different colors and lights. I've had like music playing and different things happening. And I can even feel them like touching different parts of my body in a positive way, where they're just putting energy and opening up pathways in our body so that we can install this new operating system and acclimate to these energies better. So you're not doing this on your own, even though it feels like we're about to explode because it's so much. But I think this feeling is getting more and more intense too, because we're getting closer and closer to this breaking point. It's just what happens. It's like we can feel that jump coming. So I also just want to give you that encouragement too of like, please stick with it. We're all in this together. You have so much support there with you, and you can call on it at any time. So I just want to kind of settle this and leave it at that, I feel like, and I'll let it be open for questions. But I just want to take a breath real quick into our heart again. Just letting this information kind of settle. So I just want us to close our eyes again for just a few seconds here. And just taking a deep breath again into that heart space. Just breathing into your chest. And holding at the top. Letting that energy just acclimate and integrate into your body. And just releasing out anything that no longer serves you. Just placing your hands on your heart. if you can, just take these words in, that you're here on purpose, that you're here for a reason, and that you are making a difference. That your soul came here because it is so powerful and it is meant to handle these times. It will not break you. You are so strong as a soul, and there's so much gratitude up in these higher realms and in the universe that is so thankful for you being here and coming into this human body to perform this duty. It's huge. If you can just feel that gratitude coming into your heart from all of these other beings and frequencies saying, thank you. Thank you for being here and being you. Just taking in a deep breath again. And on the exhale, I just want you to ask your heart, what is your next step? What does it want from you? What does it need you to follow? As you just bring that into your heart and that knowing, I want to close here, and I can feel my guides coming in, just saying thank you for your bravery. Thank you for being here and being in this strength and stepping forward. Just feels like they want you to know that your hard work is going to pay off. It may not feel like it right now, but we will start to see the fruits of this labor very soon. So thank you. And I thank you. Okay. All right, I'll stop rambling.
Thank you, Sarah. Just, I think I got a little dizzy with all that breathing. A good dizzy. It just
Okay,
felt
good.
wonderful. Yeah. I want to invite anyone in. If you turn, I'm going to make it so you can turn on your videos. If you have any questions, you can just give us a wave or you can say hello and interact with Sarah. So I know, Victoria, you had a question. I'll ask you to unmute and then we'll go to Laura. Okay, ask to unmute. Go ahead.
We're going to Laura. Oh, we're going to Sarah. Sarah, hi. Thank you for all of that.
Hi.
Hi. The question that I put in the chat on the side was when you were talking about the agreements and the assignments and everything, when one is adopted, is that typically part of the assignment, or is that a diversion from the original plan? I was adopted and I'm about ready to divorce that family because I recognize it's not family. So that's why I'm asking that particular question. But there's many people who are adopted who may benefit from that same answer. Like, is it the plan or the road not taken or unexpected?
This could be different for everybody, but I do kind of feel like our families are an intentional choice. That's usually the initiating thing that we come into, and it's for a purpose. Whether that family ends up being completely toxic and we have to separate from them, that is part of what we came here to experience, so that we can step more fully into who we are. So I know there's this narrative in society of like, well, family needs to be, first, and we're all supposed to love each other. And it's not. They're just people. I think that, hold on a second. I just want to make sure I'm saying this clearly. I feel like for you, it's a power push. Like, I almost feel like it's a bit of an agreement that your soul had to help push you into more of your power for yourself, so that stepping into your soul mission or whoever you're here to be is backed up with that support that you're giving yourself. Can you support yourself so much that you can love yourself so much that it's okay to let these people go and you still feel confident and powerful in who you are? Does that make sense?
It does, and I do philosophically and perhaps intellectually believe that we choose our family, but
Yeah.
I'm just unclear on, are we choosing the ones that biologically create us? Because then if we're adopted even at a young age, that new family is like, did we choose that change as well? That different, did we choose the two sets of families for all of what comes? I guess that's part of my question.
Yeah, I feel like, yes, that's what I'm getting. Just
Okay.
because that's a pretty prominent thing in your life to happen without some sort of, I think, predetermined thing for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep, I do. I just,
Yeah. But
and I
it
appreciate the way you phrased your answer too about being, do I love myself enough to walk away? That gives me chills.
yeah. Oh, good. Um, I feel like there's one other thing that I wanted to say about it. Try to remember your soul chooses these things, even though they may be challenging, but as a benefit to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's helping you in some way achieve what you need to achieve and be who you came here to be. Yeah.
Kind of like wringing out a wet cloth. The
Yeah.
wringing and the birth process is pressure, but
Yeah.
the
But what,
water has to be pushed through.
yeah, once you wring it out, you can shake it and hang it in the sun and let it dry. And like, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I
Thank
feel
you.
complete.
Okay.
Okay, Laura, you can unmute.
Hi,
Hi, welcome.
thank you. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for all your messages. I watched a few of your videos this afternoon, and boy, you made me really laugh. I love their comedy. It's just hilarious. So it definitely, joy sometimes is missing in my life, and to find somebody who understands this whole process and can bring some laughter into it is definitely a gift that you uh, give, and I gladly accept.
Thanks.
I just wanted to say with regards to the soul journey and purpose. So for me, it's the last 4 years have been extremely challenging. I feel very much alone in this journey. And so I feel like what it brought out in me, because I really got a 2x4 upside the head with it, um, is just my warrior spirit. I mean, I think I've always been a warrior, but I didn't realize how much until I actually, woke up to the whole last, well, to 2020, let's just put it that way. Um, but I feel like um, it's brought a lot of loneliness as well, because um, through the warrior and me being outspoken, and I'm selective about what I say and who I say it to, but when I say it, it brings more isolation. And I don't know how to not tell people when I feel like I really care for them, and I don't want them to be shocked. Like, I mean, I know I walk through the fear of all of it, but I don't want them to have to deal with that extreme fear, like, because, I've had 4 years to digest, where they're going to have like this huge whammy. And so I say things, but then I feel even more isolated because they roll their eyes and walk away, and because nothing appears outwardly that it's happening, and yet I see it all around me. And so it just I feel sad. And I don't know really if my purpose is to say anything more or just to shut up.
Yeah. And it's a hard one too, because it's, people you care about, but they're just not at that consciousness yet. And I know what you mean about the isolation. It is so difficult. It's very hard to be in that and lose people and not have anyone to talk to about these sort of things. And it's crazy that that is part of the journey, and that does somehow bring strength in a warrior spirit. But I feel like with these people that you may be talking to, it kind of seems like they're like the fifth wave that I talked about. You
Yeah.
are planting seeds. I will say that they're going to come back around at some point, I feel like, and say, hey, I remember you mentioned this thing, but you're probably going to be off, with your people at that point. I do feel like it's coming up because I do think it's like you're in the space to start receiving that soul group of the people who you can call up and be like, oh my gosh, the synchronicity happened. Or, I had this angel message come through for me, and they're gonna be like, oh, that's incredible. Let me tell you about my thing. I feel like it's right there, but um, I think when you keep trying to reach people who aren't open to it, we kind of stunt our energy a little bit. So it's like, how can you shift? The thing that I feel like kind of is coming in right now is like, what are the steps that you can take to start putting yourself in the places to find the people that will receive what you have to talk about? I feel like that's what you need. And I think it might be something different than what you're already doing, whether that's like, I want to attend a meditation class or somewhere where you maybe don't know people yet. It's like you just need to pull that in. And I really think that'll help because it feels like it's there for you. Um, I think yeah, I don't want to be like, shut up and stop talking to those people, but it's more like, can you find that space in your heart to have understanding for where they're at? It's almost like a compassion part of it, of like, oh man, like they're not there yet, but it's okay. It's not your job to awaken them and make them feel okay about fear or when things hit. You can't control that, and they're going to go through what they need to go through. And if it needs to be a hard hit, that's what needed to happen. It's just like, if an addict has like an overdose and survives it, like they need that hard hit in order to pull themselves out of it. Like that's what some people need. And I know you want to have that sort of sense to alleviate them from it, but I don't think you'll be able to. Not in a bad way. It's just it's going to go through their ears because it needs
Right.
to happen the way it needs to happen for them. Does that make sense or help at
Yeah.
all? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's for me to find that tribe of people that are like-minded, and
Yeah.
it's challenging. I mean, I have a few people, but for the most part, it's even that group is as awake as they are. They still, I feel like I'm just like so many, I don't know, I know I don't want to sound arrogant, but like just feel like I'm leaps and bounds ahead of people that they
Yeah.
just like I'm so beyond like the small talk and the like I need just substance. It's like, where do we go from here?
Yeah. And I think you need to find those places that offer that. If it's like an ET circle where you're going to go work with people to like, invite in ET presences, go. I think you need to find that deeper stuff, whether it's a meetup group or something. But ask your heart again, like, where do I need to go? What action do I need to take to pull this in? It's going to show you. And I think you'll get the sense of when you can open up to those people. Like for me, I'll just share this real quick. I have like one friend right now, truly. I have my husband who is like awake, but not as much as I am. And then I have this friend who is very awake. She's like 14 years older than I am. I found her on Yelp years ago because I was guided to do a reading with her, and she's done readings for me, but now we're just friends and we like chat on WhatsApp all the time. She lives in California and I'm in Chicago. So it's like we've only met in person once, but like she's my best friend. So it's going to come through in different ways, and you're going to be guided to things. Follow what you want. Truly, it's going to lead you there, even if it's just one person that you pull in. But I think you need it now, and you deserve to honor yourself in that way so you can pull it through.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Does anyone else want to jump in here? Laura, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing so deeply with us. And let us invite you. There's a lot of our group on here, the Co-Creators Convergence. You know, we've been together, you know, over a decade, and we're there for each other. And there's no pressure, there's no fee. And actually, we get together once a year in person, and we'll be doing that in North Carolina this year. And our theme is joy, joy on the mountaintop. So I think there's more joy that needs to be on this planet, you know, and we need to be there for each other. And it's a fabulous group. But I sent you a thing. If you send me your email, I also can tell you about a lot of other groups that would love to have you join them. You know,
Thank you.
You know, if that sounds appealing to you. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was drawn to, I was given this today. I just know it. Like there's no coincidences, right? So I just know that my heart is known. And so it's just this populated onto my YouTube today. And I was like, okay, I have to be there. So
I'm
thank
so
you.
glad you are.
yay. Where
Just
are
what-
you located, Laura?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
Oh, Calgary, Alberta. I knew you were Canadian because you said process.
Just what Sarah and Kung Fu Panda said, no coincidence, and it's called you, and you're here tonight. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, and we're here every Thursday night. So
Okay.
Yeah, always welcome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sarah, somebody else have a question? If not, I do. Noel, do you have some out of the chat? Let them go.
No, you go ahead. Just go ahead,
Okay.
Bob. You got a question?
Sarah, you mentioned a couple of times for my notes. Thank you. I was going to ask about, is this a physical or energetic space? And you said energetic first. You used the phrase powers that be a few times. And without mentioning any proper names or the month of November in the United States of America, if indeed we're united,
Yeah.
do you see that? Do you see the powers that be as you talked about the space, physical versus energetic? Do you see the powers that be as being physical, as in human beings that populate the ballot, or energetic, or both?
Well, I think it's a little of both, but definitely physical, because it's a third dimensional realm that we're kind of crumbling. But I do think these people, or the person that will get into that spot, it'll be an energetic thing. And I do think there is energies that are working with it. But if you think about how I mentioned systems are crumbling, who would need to go into that spot to crumble that system? Like, what do we need to crumble it? And I think this may be a very wild happening that has maybe never happened before. So we'll see what happens. But I think by us honoring our truth and our heart and following it and allowing things to be different, it will be different, however that needs to be. But there's an energy coming in that is already here. The shift is already happening, that there's this energy too of like tear down. So I think whoever needs to be in that spot to get that going will hopefully be put in that spot, and the energies will support that happening.
Thank you.
Does that answer?
Well, does it answer it for me? I'll be honest. I totally agree that systems are breaking down. Education, finance, governmental, all systems are breaking down. at different pace, but they're all in the breakdown. And I would like to think that a major shift in leadership at any level of government and in any country in the world, that the shift would be something that would be make those system changes really happen, but happen with compassion and love,
Yeah.
as opposed to other energies than love, compassion and
Anarchy.
kindness to other people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I am.
Yeah. I will say this, kind of what I've been shown a few times is the anarchy doesn't really come from those who were in authority or are in authority. It comes more from the people out of the shock of how they've been manipulated. That's where it comes from. I think the people who are being exposed for that will probably try to hide.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mark, did you want to jump in here? I saw you had your hand up there.
Oh,
a little bit.
you answered it there at the end. That's what I'm seeing as well and hearing. It will be quite severe. You know, they're calling it a catastrophic, catastrophic event as far as what is revealed that brings this about. And then everything in our society that is built on 3D really that does not serve higher consciousness can't survive in 5D. So it is going to crumble.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
do you advise, and not to put you on a spot, but like for the future, do you think, is it good to have a few cans of beans or, any thoughts on that or?
I don't really go down that road, to be honest. And I think the information I've gotten over this summer and like these next few months that we're experiencing is to build our reserves. And what that means is to build out who we are and operate from this space so we don't have to worry about that sort of thing. That's still like, I think it's kind of still like a little bit of a fear mentality where we're going to be coming together to help support each other. So you could be living in a neighborhood with a bunch of light workers or, third wavers, and maybe one of them has like a huge garden and like, I don't know. I think it's going to like work itself out. I mean, if you want to go ahead, but I really feel like, I just think it'll be okay.
And I know it will be
For
okay.
us.
Yeah. I have bought things like candles, different things, just, but not just for myself, for other people as well. I think it's important to try to be able to support your community wherever you're at, whatever that is. So
I think if that were to happen, or if certain people needed to, we'll get the nudge. We'll feel like, maybe I should stock this closet. And it will keep and we'll make it through with those sorts of things. But I really just feel like a coming together, and we're kind of living in two realities on top of each other, but they're also still slightly connected a little bit. It's very strange how this is happening. But it's on purpose that it's happening that way. The other thing I was going to say is, I mean, I've kind of been like shown who I guess is going to maybe step in, but I don't want to say it just because I know things can shift, but I just want to say that it can't be something incredibly drastic. You know what I mean? Like, Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, like can't become president. It would be like too much of a jump. So it's got to be somebody that's still kind of relatable and can reach people on a certain level, but knows the different things that need to happen to start pulling this apart. That's what I feel. So it has to be like, I don't think it's about the person that will end up in that spot. It's more about what gets exposed to that point, if that makes sense. Yeah. Shock. Shock.
Okay, we have a question coming in from Flo in Chicago.
Yay.
Hello. I'm just wondering, since the beginning of this year, I have had something tell me not to worry about what we were just speaking about, because the people who are in the running now are not going to be the final people who are in the running. Do you have that feeling?
I have a feeling about 3 people,
Okay.
which are all from different sectors. That will be more of like the front runners, but I don't know. I don't want to, I'd hate going into this too much.
Okay.
We'll have you
But I'm
back in
not wrong in
November.
not worrying about it and just thinking it's
I think what
Now we're
people,
definitely going to have a private session, Sarah.
yeah, what people need to do is we have to follow our hearts. I'll be a little more candid about this. There are 2 sectors right now that it feels like are prominent in our party system. That's what needs to get taken down. So if we let someone in from both of either one of those places, how is that going to happen? Now, there's this thing about, if we want to cast our, support in another direction, like of an independent or something, people are say, well, you're throwing your support away, or it won't count. That's not what this is about. This is about following our truth. We're finding our truth in our heart and following it. That's what this is about. The North Node is in Aries right now. It is about fearless independence, support for ourselves, and entering into our truth. And we have to follow that like it is the torch leading the way. And I think that, and if your truth is like, okay, I want to, support someone in one of those parties, that's okay. It's totally fine. But it's like, we have to find that in ourselves and let the truth be revealed. When we follow our truth, the truth will come out. And that's what I think is going to kind of show itself too, in a surprising way of like, I followed my truth, and in this roundabout sort of way, it happened, or it came about, and what needed to happen will happen. I will say this too, it can't be too big of a jump. I think it's too much for people to handle, and I don't think the right things would get done that need to get done. It's like whatever needs to break down, that's what we need. We need breakdown so that we can put the right things in place. And then I think we can make that next jump, if that makes sense.
It all comes back to our dear teacher, Barbara Marx Hubbard, who this whole group is based on. She was a visionary, a futurist, and actually ran for vice president of the United States in 1984. And if you go to YouTube and put in Barbara Marx Hubbard and listen to her talk she did, address she gave to the Democratic National Convention, it'll go like, why don't we listen to that lady? What a different world this would be. But anyway, one of the things that, people say, well, how do you get through all this, all this, stuff that's going on? And I said, Barbara always taught us, it's breakdown before breakthrough. So I just say, we're at the breakdown. We have to go through this, just like, in our personal lives. Sometimes, you have to break down and completely melt before you emerge, like the phoenix. So I'm just holding vision that we're going to, come out the other side and ascend and be in that other frequency that, you've been talking about so eloquently all night. And I really appreciate your time here. Well, we do have one more question. It was asked, have you ever had a near-death experience?
I personally have not had a near-death experience, no.
There's another thing called STEs. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not, actually.
It's not a near-death experience, but it's called a spiritually transformative event. And some people will say, no, I haven't had an NDE, but, Angel Gabriel came and had a little chat with me, and completely, changed my life. But
yeah,
Okay, that's,
I would say I've had a few of those.
okay, there we go. So you have some STEs. Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else want to ask a final question, because we're about to close here? And I really, you know.
Noel, if there's, again, if there, those of you that are not familiar with the Co-Creators Convergence, it's not a group, it's not a membership, it's not an organization. Nobody knows about it. We've been hiding in plain sight for 10 years. And, but it's a community of love. And if you'd like to be on the mailing list for one time a month, we will send out the list of who our conversationalists will be on Thursday night. And so again, we have a website with over 750 recordings of occasions like we had tonight with Sarah, archived on that website. It's all free because it all belongs to everybody, and a very active Facebook page. So if you want to put your email address in the chat, Noel will add you to the mailing list so you can get a monthly newsletter. We welcome you to the Facebook page and to check out the website. And there's Barbara's speech to the 1984 National Convention.
And there's a whole story how she even
There's a
got
very
there.
big story
Oh,
behind how she ended up on that stage.
But we're not going to go into that now. Very mystical and magical. Just wanted to say that, Bob, will you tell us our guest for next week? I believe it's going to be Olivia is bringing Brian Russo. You're muted, Bob.
Thank you. Our conversationalist next week is Brian Russo. That's right. Hosted by Olivia. And it is co-creating New Earth through unitive consciousness.
So I think that's exactly the perfect follow-up for our conversation tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome
thank
all.
you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Sarah. If anybody wants to unmute and give some love for this beautiful evening we've had together, really appreciate your coming here. And you're always welcome back every Thursday night. And you're welcome to join us for Joy in the Mountaintop in October 6th through 11th. So
Thank you for your energy, everybody.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having
You
me.
bet.
Everybody.
Thank you, Sarah. Bless you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
You bet. May peace prevail on earth
May peace prevail on earth.
And throughout the universe.
and throughout the universe, Flo.
There we
In
go.
all dimensions, all time and space.
Thank you.
All time and space.
Good
Thank you.
night,
Have a
all.
good week.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night, you chatterboxes.